What you see, what you believe, is only a fraction of what truly is. Reality is not shaped by your agreement or your resistance. It simply exists, waiting to be recognized. Too often, we live entangled in a web of our own beliefs, convinced that they define the truth. But here's a secret: they don't. To truly engage with life, we must be willing to peel away these illusions and confront the raw, unfiltered truth. This is not an act of addition, but one of subtraction, removing what you think you know to discover what has always been there. This journey begins with a bold realization. The truth doesn't care if you believe it. Whether you subscribe to it or not, it stands unshaken, waiting for your acknowledgement. The mind loves to interpret, to label, and to shape the world according to its own story. But reality has no need for such narratives. The real challenge is letting go of those interpretations, those carefully crafted beliefs, so that you can experience life as it truly is, without the filters of your mind. Yet how many of us are brave enough to question the stories we've lived by? The world is full of distractions and comforting illusions. We cling to them because they give us a false sense of control. But deep down, there is a quiet knowing, a silent whisper that says, there's more beyond the surface. Are you willing to listen to it? Are you ready to step beyond your constructed reality into the realm of what truly is? If this resonates with you, if you feel that pull towards something deeper, subscribe and like this video. We are just beginning a journey into the heart of existence, where the lines between belief and reality blur and the truth awaits. What if I told you that the self you believe in is nothing but a shadow, a fleeting reflection of something far more profound? The separation you feel between yourself and the world is the source of much suffering, yet it is nothing more than a trick of perception. The concept of self is a story you've inherited, a construct shaped by the teachings, expectations, and fears of others. From birth, we are taught to see ourselves as separate, distinct beings, but in reality, this sense of separation is the root of all confusion. In this illusion of duality, we create barriers, us and them, inside and outside, me and the world. But what if those barriers were never real? What if they are mere projections of a conditioned mind, struggling to grasp at something permanent in a world that is constantly changing? The suffering we experience, the loneliness, the frustration, they stem from our inability to see that the lines we draw between ourselves and the universe are imaginary. The truth, if you dare to see it, is that there is no division. You are not separate from the world. You are a part of it, woven into the very fabric of existence. The boundaries you perceive between you and everything else are the product of limited thinking, of a mind that cannot yet comprehend the vastness of what is. There is a oneness, a unity that underlies everything, and until you experience this, you will continue to suffer from the illusion of separation. But the question remains, are you willing to let go of the identity you've held onto for so long? Can you release the grip on the illusion of the self and allow yourself to merge with the greater reality? To see through this false division is to step into a new understanding, one that dissolves the boundaries between you and the infinite. Unlearning is not a passive act. It is a deliberate shedding, a burning away of everything you thought you knew. We've been conditioned to believe that knowledge is power, that understanding is achieved by accumulating more information. But in truth, wisdom often comes not from learning, but from unlearning. The layers of judgments, labels, and preconceived notions that we carry distort our perception of reality. To see clearly, we must first let go of the false ideas we've built our identities around. This process of unlearning is not easy. It requires courage to face the uncomfortable truth that much of what we hold on to is simply illusion. The mind loves its stories, its narratives about who we are and how the world works. But these stories act as a veil, preventing us from experiencing life in its raw, unfiltered form. Unlearning means peeling back this veil, confronting the emptiness beneath, and realizing that the constructs we cling to are what keep us bound to a limited existence. With every belief that is unlearned, a layer of confusion falls away, leaving behind a clearer sense of being. This is not an achievement, it's a return to a state of openness, a state of clarity where things are seen as they are, without the distortions of past conditioning. In this space, the mind quiets and the heart becomes the guide. You begin to understand that the judgments you've made about yourself, about others, about life itself, were never necessary. As you unlearn, you come to see that reality is not something you need to control, label, or fix. It is something to be experienced directly and without interference. The more you let go, the more you realize that what remains is pure presence, a state of being that requires no explanation, no belief, only your full awareness. Unlearning is a liberation, not from the world, but from the filters that keep you from truly living in it. Consciousness is the lens through which all experience flows, the silent observer of everything you perceive. Yet how often do we question the nature of this lens? Most live their lives assuming that what they see, hear, and think is an accurate reflection of reality. But consciousness is not a passive mirror. It shapes and filters everything we encounter. Every thought, every feeling, every experience is colored by the state of our awareness. To understand this is to begin to unlock the deeper mysteries of existence. What you perceive as the world out there is, in fact, nothing more than an interpretation created by your consciousness. It is a dance between your inner state and the vast field of reality that surrounds you. This is why two people can witness the same event, yet come away with entirely different experiences. The truth is not in the event itself, but in the consciousness that perceives it. Everything you experience is filtered through this inner lens, and only by understanding the nature of your own awareness can you begin to see clearly. To truly grasp the nature of consciousness is to realize that it is the foundation of everything you know. It is not a part of the world. It is the space within which the world appears. The more you explore this, the more you come to understand that what you think of as you and what you think of as the world are not separate. They are intertwined, part of a seamless whole. Consciousness is not bound by the limits of the mind, and when you stop trying to define it, you begin to experience its true vastness. This shift in understanding is the key to realizing the oneness of all things. When you stop identifying solely with your thoughts and perceptions, you begin to see that consciousness is the underlying field that connects everything. The separations you once perceived between self and other, mind and world, dissolve, revealing the infinite interconnectedness of all things. The journey of consciousness is not one of gaining more, but of seeing through the illusions that have kept you blind to the truth. Your thoughts are not who you are. They are fleeting, momentary visitors, passing through the vastness of your mind. Yet most of us have built our entire identities on these transient whispers. We cling to our thoughts as if they define us, allowing them to dictate our actions, emotions, and even our sense of self-worth. But the truth is simple. Thoughts come and go, while you, the observer of those thoughts, remain unchanged. To identify with them is to mistake the clouds for the sky. The mind has a tendency to grasp at these thoughts, to weave them into intricate stories that shape how we see ourselves and the world. But in doing so, we become entangled in narratives that limit us, trapping us in cycles of fear, doubt, and judgment. It is this identification with thought that creates suffering, for the stories we tell ourselves are rarely aligned with the deeper truth of our being. When you let go of the need to cling to your thoughts, you begin to see them for what they truly are, passing phenomena, not reflections of reality. Letting go of thought identification doesn't mean suppressing or fighting your thoughts. It means allowing them to arise and pass without attaching meaning to them. Imagine thoughts as uninvited guests. They may knock on the door, but you are not obliged to let them in, entertain them, or follow them wherever they lead. In doing so, You free yourself from the mental chatter that keeps you disconnected from the present moment, from the deeper sense of peace that exists beyond thought. The real power lies in the space between thoughts, the quiet stillness that is always there, waiting to be recognized. In that space, you are no longer bound by the judgments, fears, or desires that arise from identifying with your mind. You return to a state of presence where you can observe your thoughts without being pulled into their stories. This is freedom. Freedom from the endless noise of the mind, and a return to the simple awareness of being. There is a state within you that is untouched by the noise of the world, a natural state of being that exists beyond the layers of conditioning and false identities. This state is not something to be achieved, but something to be remembered. It is the essence of who you truly are, before the world taught you to separate yourself from life. It is a state of pure presence, where there is no effort, no striving, and no need to be anything other than what you already are. In this natural state, everything is whole. The separations and divisions that once seemed so real dissolve into the background, revealing the unity that underlies all things. You realize that there was never any need to fight or resist. The struggle was always against illusions. When the layers of conditioning fall away, what remains is a simplicity, a quiet knowing that everything is as it should be. You return to the flow of life, unburdened by the need to control or force outcomes. This state of being is not distant or elusive. It is here, right now, waiting beneath the surface of your everyday experience. It is the part of you that has always known peace, that has always been in harmony with the world around you. The more you let go of the illusions of separation, the more you sink into this natural state. It is a state of grace, where life unfolds effortlessly and you become a part of the rhythm of existence, rather than a separate entity trying to navigate it. To unite with your natural state is to return home. It is not an act of becoming, but of unbecoming. The layers of false identity, fear, and conditioning peel away, revealing the pure essence that was always there. In this space, you are free. Free from the stories that once bound you, free from the mind's endless search for meaning. You simply are, and in that being, you discover a depth of peace and understanding that cannot be described, only lived. Reality, in its purest form, has always been present, unchanging, eternal, and unaffected by your attempts to control or understand it. The mind, in its restless nature, seeks to grasp and categorize everything it encounters, believing that it can somehow shape reality through its concepts and judgments. But true reality cannot be captured by the mind's limited perspective. It exists beyond thought, beyond time, in a state of timeless presence that simply is. As you release your attachment to the illusions of the mind, a profound clarity begins to emerge. You start to see that reality is not something to be controlled or understood, but something to be experienced. It doesn't require your agreement, nor does it bend to your will. The more you let go of the need to impose your beliefs on the world, the more you align with the flow of existence. In this space, everything unfolds naturally, without force or resistance. This realization brings with it a deep sense of peace. The endless struggle to define, control, and manipulate reality falls away, and you are left with the simple truth that everything is connected, that all separation is an illusion. The oneness of all things becomes clear, and with it comes the understanding that the mind's search for meaning was always futile. The answers the mind sought were never hidden. They were simply beyond the reach of thought. In the end, reality is not something to be conquered or figured out. It is something to be lived. The more you surrender to this timeless presence, the more you realize that you were never separate from it. You are a part of this vast, interconnected whole, and in that realization, there is nothing left to do but be. Accept the moment as it is, without judgment, and you will find yourself in harmony with the flow of life itself. This is the essence of truth, beyond the mind's grasp, pure, unchanging, and ever present.